meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murderers scum. They're a giant death factories keeping babies alive. They're selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we wanna eat babies. I have them on video. Hillary's in the creepy weird sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same room with that creepy weird woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. What the hell? That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur. Literal vampire pot and the goblins are hobbling round coming after us. My spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go. We're such self-centered crap. We don't even notice hell itself rising up against us. Millions upon it, people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stab your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife, your son. Gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, we love our Somalis, we love our Muslims, oh they're so good, oh they're so sweet.
I was watching Fox News as I worked out this.
Oh they're so sweet.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me? I'm having some technical difficulties. I am not indeed sure if you guys can see me or not. Oh yeah, it seems like you can indeed see me. Okay, yeah. So for some reason, I am lagging quite significantly here. So if you guys can indeed see me, let me know. It seems like I just have a lag problem, but you guys can see me, so that's good to see. Well, incredible quality, absolutely, folks, absolutely. Well, maybe the content of the stream can make up for the quality of the connection. As you are all well aware, I am streaming from the moon. I'm using dial-up. Unfortunately, I've had to cut back on expenses. Given the recent, dumps we've been seeing. So you have to forgive me, folks. This is a low budget operation. Here, fine. It's just a laggy video. What up, Hollywood Trader? Tin Top in the chat saying sounds good. Video is choppy. Hexmole saying this just adds to the aesthetic. Incredible quality. Well, thank you very much, folks. But I honestly got to point out that absolutely none of you have put your preferred gender pronouns in the comments, and this is a hate-free zone. This is a hate-free speech live stream, folks. So as you are all well aware, it is my utmost responsibility above all else to condone a climate of acceptance. This is a safe space, and so if you're some heteronormative cisgendered, this isn't the place for you, because over here we believe in tolerance. Okay. So, crack open your Bud Lights. Hexmole has a Bud Light. That's brave and powerful. Thank you, Hexmole, for that comment. That is tremendous. That is powerful. That is brave. I'm glad I caught this, because I got a piece of news here that I can refer to later in the stream. Folks, hope you all are doing okay. Hope you all are doing well. You ought to be, because the price is pumping. That's good to see, and we're approaching some very, very interesting levels, not just with Pulsechain, but also with Fiat, with time. We also got some very interesting stuff going on with the potential interesting arbitrage opportunity with Hex and the Maximus DAO pools. So we'll take a look at all that good stuff. Oh, I see some pronouns in the chat. This is brave and powerful. Identify as an attack helicopter. Thank you, Queen. Slay, keep slaying. Hollywood Traders, Chad Tyrone. That's based. Thank you. That's giving. BC Cheesy. My preferred adjectives are rich and handsome. Thank you, everyone. Put a slay in the comments. Slay Queen. Identify as two middle fingers. Tin top. Wow, that is brave and stunning. Stunning and brave. Brave and stunning. We have an incredibly brave and powerful chat here in the live stream today. So that's stunning. That's great to see. Thank you so much for all that bravery that we're seeing here in the comments. Now, let's continue the bravery by taking a look here at the markets. Let's take a look at Pulsechain. Let me share my screen here, folks. While I share my my screen, why don't you do me a favor and share the stream? Like, sub, share, do all that good stuff. So, I don't know why I am so. The connection's so good. I'm awful today. Connection is unstable. So StreamYard is telling me connection. Oh, connection is not fairly good. If you're on Wi-Fi, try plugging into your router or moving closer to it. So that's StreamYard. It's flip-flopping back and forth. But regardless, folks, look at Pulsechain. Look at Pulsechain. So we're forming a wedge. Broke out, failed, broke out once again. We were maintaining above the day one sack rate. The bears tried to take it down, and they failed. And we're now testing this area of resistance right here. Quite significant. And you can tell it's significant for several reasons. Like, we're looking at a 4-hour chart right now. And if we look at our 4-hour, support right here, resistance on that wick, support on that candle. Like, let's zoom in, see if we can tell just a little bit better so you can see what I'm saying. Like, this is quite a price reactive zone. Like, look at that. Resistance, support, resistance, resistance, support, support, support over here. And then if we zoom out once again, same goddamn area, resistance, resistance. So it seems like the market has picked the area that is having a tough time breaking above, and that is this area right here. So if we want to see bullish continuation, then what we want to look out for is higher time frame candles opening and closing above a previously established resistance level. If we flip that into support, then that's a good sign. So if we do something like this, come back down, get some 4-hour candles, daily candles opening and closing above this area, then we are more likely than not to see a continuation in that case. So really kind of good to see there. I see what else? What are you guys saying in the comments here before I continue? I see Davis, what up? Tortoise Johnny, what up? JB saying, hey, what the fuck? Hey, man, we don't use that kind of language here. That's hateful language. Davis is saying, Brandon, if you lower your monthly subscription to under $50, I think about joining, but I cannot pay more than my truck insurance payment. Guys, look, okay, so thank you very much, Davis, for bringing this up. Number one, Davis and everyone else in this chat, I fucking love you guys for being here. If my Patreon group is too expensive, do not go for it. My Patreon group is only for people who can very easily afford it. Okay, so if it's like even a question, do not join, guys. Just watch my videos, just watch the live stream. I try and provide plenty of value in these streams, and I also bring up a lot of the stuff that I talk in my Discord on the live streams. I just do so maybe a little bit later, guys. So for those of you who don't know, I did on purpose choose a higher price for my Patreon group, because for those of you who don't know, just get a little bit of backstory for myself. For those of you who just know me from this channel, I used to be very active on A Million Under the Moon. We had another cryptocurrency channel called A Million Under the Moon. I did that with my friend Messin. We're pivoting that channel in another direction, but I still like talking about crypto, so that's why I talk about it on the Brandon B Show. My point is, we had a Patreon group and a VIP Discord group from A Million to the Moon, and we charged a relatively small amount to enter. And it was frankly a lot of work. We had a lot of people at near the peak, and it was frankly a lot of work. And what I learned was that, hey, I frankly rather increase the price and have less people join, because number one, it's less work for myself, and and I can give more attention and give more of my time to the fewer people that join. So that's kind of the reason why it's a higher price. I did that on purpose. If it's at all like a question for you guys, do not join that group. Wait until the bull market, till we're all rich, and you could like very, very easily afford it. That I made it a relatively high price on purpose, because I much prefer having a fewer amount of people, having a smaller group that I can dedicate more time towards than having whatever, like $3.99, $5 a month, where I got a lot of people I got to manage, and my attention's being spread out all over the place. So that's the reason. Davis is saying, it just makes you seem like a scammer with such a high price. No, man. I know the value I provide, and if the value I provide in that group is worth thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, because I ask myself, okay, in that group, I share my personal portfolio, my percentage breakdowns, my take profit strategy, what I'm buying, what I'm selling. And if I had that knowledge that I share in my group back when I first started in the market, it would have made me hundreds of thousands of dollars. It would have saved me hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I think it's extremely appropriately priced. I provide a fuck ton of value in that group. Man, maybe you guys don't realize it, but if I had that knowledge that I know that I talk about in my group back when I first started this market, it would have made me hundreds of thousands of dollars. I would have saved hundreds of thousands of dollars. So yeah, that $94 or whatever it is, if I know for a fact, if I had that knowledge that I have today when I first started, I would have saved hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I think a $94 entrance fee to save hundreds of thousands is pretty valuable and pretty underpriced, in my opinion. So I don't want to spend too much time on that, but I did want to be transparent as to why it is the price that it is. But look, I appreciate your opinion, guys. Look, fuck the Patreon group. If you can easily afford that, join it. If you want to support me, join it. If not, there's going to be a ton of value provided in these streams. Just moving forward, I just the first place I talk about things is the Discord group. So that's that. All right, so folks, Pulsechain, like I said, if we want to see continuation, we want to see higher time frame candles opening and closing above, what is it, like 10.7 here. Now, if we keep getting resistance here, and if we might come back down and test support here. Once we were testing the day one average sack rate, this was where I was tweeting, where I was live tweeting. Hey, it's kind of nice to buy dips, and if one would have bought there, one would have been up nearly 6%. So guys, look, dips are for buying. You don't want to FOMO pumps. Even though I think Pulsechain's going to do fantastic long term, and even at these levels, it's probably a fantastic buy long term. I just, for myself, as a rule of thumb, I always like buying dips. Like even while we were pumping, like this leg up here where we pumped, 18 some odd percent. I waited for that correction, for that test of the day one average sack rate before I tweeted out. I like buying dips. Now, that's not financial advice, but just as a matter of principle, as a matter of how you conduct yourself in this market, I find it super difficult buying pumps, and I think it's probably long term a good idea to train yourself to wait for dips. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. Tintop is saying I would pay $50 for a metric fuck ton value from your Patreon, but all my favorite tokens are on sale right now. Yeah, exactly, guys. Fucking like buy. I would much rather you guys buy these tokens before you fucking join my group. All right. I think a large value proposition of my group is my take profit strategy. Aside from what I'm doing short term in my portfolio percentage breakdown, all that good stuff, I think is valuable. But guys, look after yourself first. And this is what I got to say too, because look, guys, I was one of these people who, when I first started looking into crypto back in 2020, I signed up for a bunch of like VIP Discord groups, a bunch of masterminds, a bunch of courses. I did all that shit. And I got to say that even though I did learn, number one, a lot of these YouTubers are fucking retarded, and you can find a lot of this value by yourself. It just takes more time. A lot of these courses and stuff just have, you know, the knowledge more condensed, and you can like find out what you need to know in a shorter period of time. But you can typically find out what you need to know if you really put the time and effort into it. But my point is, like, guys, like I remember I bought into a group for $2,000. I won't name who, but yeah, I straight up paid $2,000. No. Sorry, it was like $1,400 or $1,500. It was a significant amount of money, regardless, like $1,400 or $1,500, and I would have been much better off just buying tokens. And so, like not to like convince you guys not to join my group. If you want to support me, and if you could do so easily, join the group. There's tons of value. But like if you're on the edge, fucking buy Pulsechain, buy Pulsex, buy Hex. You know, once we're in the bull and we're all fucking rich, you can support whoever you like much easier once you're, you know, once it's easier for you to do so. So was it a guy with a mustache? I don't assume gender, Davis, so I wouldn't know. Now let's keep looking here at the market. Let's take a look at Pulsex. Pulsex is pumping. So guys, look, I think we were vindicated. I think we won on the whole, you know, Pulsex single side staking debate. You know, it was quite obvious that when Richard was tweeting about removing single side staking, market dumped. Richard tweets about adding single side staking, market pump. So regardless of people's opinions, I do think, you know, the market sure shit seems to think that single side staking for Pulsex matters tremendously. And guys, like, it's so simple. Earning a yield matters. That's the whole reason for Hex. What can you do with Hex? You can stake it and earn a yield. I can't believe like the Hex community has lost its mind and forgotten the value of earning a yield. So, you know, that's that. Now, I did want to bring up a couple of things. One of the things I wanted to bring up was the fact that the Maximus DAO perp pools, for those of you who don't know, a little while ago, you know, a group of, you know, community members, ex-community members, got together. I forget their Twitter handles at the moment, but basically, and they formed the Maximus DAO, kind of fucking, I don't know if it's a group or that's the right thing to call it. But anyways, what they did was that they created a smart contract, and they allowed essentially a bunch of people to pool a bunch of Hex together and stake it all at once, all together, in order to get bigger pays better bonus and you know, the longer pays better bonus as well. And so what came of this was Base, which is a pooled together 1-year stake. Trio pooled together 3-year stake. Lucky pooled together 7-year stake. Deci pooled together 10-year stake, and Maxi, which was the 15-year long stake. Now, for whatever goddamn reason, Deci very significantly is at a 49% discount over Hex right now. So P-Deci is about 45%, and E-Deci is about 47% discount over Hex. So let's take a look at Hex on Pulsechain right now. And we can see that Hex on Pulsechain is about 28% above 2 cents. And if we take a look at Deci, this is about roughly 45% below 2 cents. Now, something you got to understand, 1 Deci is ultimately redeemable for 1 Hex. So the way, again, these perp pools work is that, you know, if you're in Base after 1 year, you'll be able to give or deposit your 1 Base token into the smart contract and receive 1 Hex token back plus the interest. With Trio, you, after 3 years, you deposit your Trio in and you get your principal plus the interest. Same thing. So with Deci, let's say you have a million Deci tokens, for example, right? After 10 years, you would deposit your million Deci into the smart contract, and you would receive your principal plus all the interest you earn for 10 years, plus the bigger pays better bonus, the longer pays better bonus. So there is great utility in the Maximus DAO pools. It allows you to get exposure to these longer term Hex stakes with a larger pays better bonus, while having the privilege of remaining liquid and a token that you can sell whenever you want. And so, in my opinion, it seems like if you have the added feature set of having the exposure to a hex stake while at the same time being able to remain liquid and sell the token whenever you like, that added feature set would intuitively lead me at least to believe that there ought to be a premium on one base token, one trio token, one lucky token, one desi token, one maxi token over one hex token because again of the added feature set, at least potentially. That's like the theoretical idea, right? But for whatever goddamn reason, Deci most significantly is trading at a massive, massive discount over PHEX. And it's leading me to ask the question out loud. And this is a question I want to propose to you guys as well. You know, I'm not fully confident in the conclusion myself, but it seems to me like there is potentially speaking an amazing arbitrage opportunity. Because again, you know, one Deci is equivalent to one hex plus the interest earned for 10 years, plus the privilege, plus the added feature of being able to sell that token, which represents your stake in that pool whenever you like. So it's like a massive value add-on, but it's trading at a massive discount. It seems to me like there's a chance that the market is mispricing and misunderstanding these products. Now, so some to understand, right? Like it seems to me like Deci has been trading at a discount over Hex for quite some time. So, like for example, if we look at the peak here, the peak for Deci on Pulsechain on the 4-hour chart was just over 2 cents, like 2.25, but the peak for Hex on Pulsechain was just over 3 cents. So it seems like Deci has been trading at a discount over Hex for quite some time. So it's an open question whether this arbitrage opportunity will ever be closed. And there's a couple considerations we need to consider. Number one, the market for these Maximus DAO perp pools is relatively illiquid. Now that has been improving thanks to Fux.io, where Fux has been greatly improving the liquidity situation. But this also, this discount could be due to simply a lack of market awareness. Like, guys, what we have here is like a 45% discount. So like Hex is at 2285. So if we measure here from 2285, guys, like this is 22. Go back to 2222. Around, yeah, like around here. 27% down. Like for us to pump to 2285, 2285. That's nearly a 40% pump. So for Deci to catch up to the price of PHEX, so for P Deci to catch up to the price of PHEX is about 38, 40%. I'm not measuring exactly, so it's roughly 40% pump from here. So I do not understand why this arbitrage opportunity hasn't been closed yet, because this looks like a screaming opportunity where you could potentially get 40%, 45% more Hex than you would have otherwise if the arbitrage closes, if the price meets each other. And that's an open question. It's not guaranteed that will happen. Therefore, there's a risk. So what I personally have done is I've chosen to allocate 25% of my liquid Hex into Deci on the off chance that maybe one day they reach parity. Because again, one Deci is equivalent to one Hex plus a bunch of interest plus the feature set of getting exposure to a Hex stake while remaining liquid. Like it seems to me like these things should be at a premium, but for some reason they're trading at a discount, which again makes me think that perhaps the market is mispricing these things. And Tintop brings up a good point as well. He's saying, and Maxi and Hadron multiplier, some people are reluctant because extra Contract risk, that's true. People may be waiting for base to see if the contract pays out. So this is another good point as well. So like, why not ape in? I just mentioned I only did 25% of my liquid hex. And there's a good reason, because there's some risk, right? We mentioned the perp pools are relatively illiquid. Also, we don't know with 100% certainty that the smart contract for these perp pools are 100% Loctite good to go. We suspect they are, because we, many people have taken a look at the code. Many people seem to think that the developers kind of know what they're doing. But, at the end of the day, anything's possible if it's not battle tested. So perhaps what a lot of people are doing are waiting for the base pool to expire and for that to pay out the interest and for it to work in order for people to, I think, maybe feel more comfortable buying these pools. So last time I checked, the base pool, which is a 1-year stake, expires, I believe it's this October of this year. And so perhaps that people are waiting to see if that pool expires, if it pays out the interest correctly, if everyone gets their hex back, if everything works correctly. Because right now, this technically is an unproven concept. So it could be that maybe around October, once the if the pool pays out all the principal plus the interest correctly, it could be that's what it takes to give the market the confidence it needs in order to feel comfortable buying these things. And maybe that's what it would take for us to see parity. So I want to make it clear that if we do see parity, you could get 40% more hex than you would have otherwise if Deci gets parity with PHEX. But it's an open question. We might not ever get that parity. Again, the market might just so happen to place a premium on the underlying asset, and they might consider the all these derivative options with a Hadron, Icosa stakes, all this stuff to be perhaps too high risk, and perhaps that's why there's a discount. Maybe once in October, once the base smart contract expires and pays out the principal plus interest, maybe that's what it'll take for there to for the gap to close a bit. But it's ultimately an open question. There is a risk, but there is the possibility for this upside. So because there is kind of that open risk to reward ratio here, where the reward is maybe getting 40% more on your hex, but the risk is that maybe the discount, the premium, the arbitrage opportunity never closes, or the market always remains relatively illiquid, or there is smart contract risk and the smart contract's broken in some way that we can't anticipate and doesn't pay out the principal plus the interest. Maybe once we get that first base stake opening, maybe that'll be kind of the catalyst necessary to close that gap. We don't know what it'll take, but given the potential for this gap to close, especially on a theoretical level, that's why I've chosen to put a quarter of my liquid hex into Deci, just because this 40% discount, folks. Like, if the smart contract's not broken, I don't understand a logical reason for there to be this much of a discount. Maybe the market really places maybe really doesn't like hex derivatives, like these hex derivative options, and think like they're too high risk. Maybe that's it. I also think it's partially a lack of market awareness. Maybe people don't know of this opportunity, whatever it may be. It just like a 40%. I can understand maybe the difference between eHex and PHEX, because those are they're on two different networks. But we're talking about P-Deci. We're talking about P-Hex. One P-Deci, one Deci on Pulsechain is redeemable for one hex on Pulsechain plus a bunch of interest. Again, plus the added feature set of having the liquidity to be able to sell whenever you want, plus having the exposure of a hex stake. Like, guys, whenever you add value to a financial product, typically that brings a premium to it, not a discount. So, like, it's an open question here as to why there is this discount. And if this discount ever goes away, there's potentially a massive, 40-some-odd% opportunity here, very potentially. But again, there's a lot of risk here as well. So, those are some of the things we got to consider. Tintop is saying, by the way, Tintop, I've seen you around for quite a long time. So shout out to you, man, or person, female. I don't want to assume gender, for being here on the live stream. Yield on top of yield is tasty too. I stake some perpetuals in Fox. Oh yeah, that's another thing too. Like if you have a bunch of, let's say, base, trio, lucky, desi, you can go and provide liquidity on Fox, and I think they're paying a pretty good APR last time I checked. Cha-ching, please stop advertising the insane discount on perps to every broke pleb. Save that for your Patreon group. In fact, I did. I mentioned this to my Patreon group first. So that's another thing. I'll typically mention things to the Patreon group first, and then, the next day after, I'll bring it up on live stream. So for those of you interested in supporting me who can easily do so, that's kind of a part of the value proposition. Gerardo just tweeted Mintra is estimated to launch publicly on Pulsechain testnet version 4 this week. That's good news. Shout out to Mintra. Shout out to Gerardo. I've been kind of poking fun at them lately on Twitter for being kind of missing in action and for being one of the quietest teams on Pulsechain. Like, it's extremely funny how they raised just $10 million and just bounced, just like extremely quiet. But the fact that they're now talking about launching is really great news. Good for them. I'm happy for the Mintra sacrifices. I sacrifice a little bit for Mintra, not too much. I'm much heavier into Power City personally, but I'm glad they're launching. That's good news. It's good to see. Dave is saying, Tin Top, if you're throwing jabs at me, I've super chatted well over 5K to this community since I've been around. It is just a big fat joke charging over 1,000 per year, and people should point that out. 1,000 per year. Yeah. Yeah, maybe it is. And if it is to you, man, then that's fine. Guys, like, again, so to just for the people coming in now, this is in reference to the cost of my Patreon group. Guys, I specifically chose to make the price of my group relatively higher on purpose. I don't want people who are, have less money joining that group. I only want people who can very, very easily afford it, because if you're just getting in, you have a couple $100, a couple $1,000, I would much rather you go and buy these coins than join my group. I price that the price it is on purpose in order to skew for people who can very, very easily afford to pay for a group. I don't want people who are just coming in with a couple $100, a couple $1,000 to join my group. No, go buy Pulsechain, not financial advice. Go buy these fucking things, and then once you got your money right, then you can come and support me and join my group. And again, Davis, I do think that $1,000 per year is extremely valuable, because part of the value proposition in my group is I talk about my take profit strategy. And if I would have known the shit I talk about in there back when I first started, it would have saved me hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so, yeah, that $1,000 per year, for example, what I wouldn't give. I would have paid tens of thousands of dollars to someone to have the knowledge I have now, because it would have saved me hundreds of thousands of dollars back in the day. Like, if I knew what I knew now when I first started investing back in 2020, I talk about hundreds of thousands, but I actually would have invested. I say hundreds of thousands because of how I would have taken profits differently, but I also would have accumulated differently as well. So the value I provided my group, if I knew what I'm teaching in my group back when I first started, I would have made millions. So yeah, I definitely think $1,000 a year is fucking underpricing it. I in fact should fucking charge $10,000 for that group because it's extremely valuable. The knowledge I share in that group. If I would have known that knowledge and that take profit strategy when I first got in, I would have saved hundreds of thousands. If I would have accumulated differently based off the knowledge I share, I would have made millions. So yeah, I think $1,000 to save hundreds of thousands or make millions is probably not a bad idea, at least for me. If you're, if it's a problem for you, do not join. Again, I price that specifically for the reasons that I just mentioned. All right, enough of that stuff. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Chintop saying that contract risk has kept people out of Hadron too. This perp discount is an opportunity. The T-share rate you're buying at will pay dividends as well. So this is something else to consider. So the DESI, all these Maximus DAO pools, they went live about 8-10 months ago, something like that. So you're buying in at the T-share rate from 8-10 months ago, which is at a much superior rate. So like superior T-share rate, a bigger pays better bonus, longer pays better bonus, the added liquidity of being able to sell whenever you want. It theoretically, on a theoretical level, does not make sense for this product to have a discount. In fact, these products, when you have added features, should have a premium. I suppose it's maybe the risk, the lack of liquidity, the lack of market awareness that we have this discount. But on a logical, theoretical level, there shouldn't be this discount. There should be a premium. So, and let's say one day that come October, come December, let's say base, the smart contract opens and closes, and it does pay out the principal plus the interest, and the market becomes more confident, and the market becomes more aware. What if we now have a premium on the perp pools? I mean, we're talking about a 40% pump, a 40% add on your hex just to reach parity. What if one day there's a premium? We don't know. It might not ever happen. There's a great deal of risk, which is why I'm doing only 25% of my liquid X to Deci. But again, there is that opportunity. That's why I wanted to bring it up. I'm too broke to donate anything. Please don't. Yeah, then don't. But stack your bag, man. Dave is saying, Brandon, is it the take profits info on a PDF you give when people join, or is it drip fed? So I have it. My take profit strategy is just written out like in paragraph format in my Discord group. But also when it comes time to take profits, sometime 2025 or whatever, summer 2025, I'll be much more accurately making videos, doing live streams with my group. For now, where we're years away from the where it's time to take profits, in my opinion, I just have a couple paragraphs written up, a couple of resources, a couple of examples that I have. But once it comes closer and closer to take profits, I'll be doing live streams, I'll be doing videos, I'll be doing kind of like weekly live streams with my members, all that good stuff. But for now, it's just a couple paragraphs written up in a Discord group. That's basically what I have so far. Dave is saying here, I'd rather super chat the people providing content than pay monthly to hear opinions. That being said, I'll leave it alone. Yeah, man. No, 100%. Guys, it's not like, you don't have to do it. Appreciate if you do it. You really don't have to. I would prefer if you go and buy this stuff yourself. So, guys, that's Deci here. Also, Maxi seems to be about an 8% discount. Lucky, 17% discount. Trio, 8-9% discount. And Base is about a 4% discount. So that's kind of crazy to see. That's crazy to see. What I might do too, leading up to kind of October before that pool expires, is maybe, who knows, there's some risk, right? But maybe sell another 25% of my liquid hex into Base come October, just to get that kind of 10% yield. Because I believe for the Base pools, it's about 10% that it pays year over year. So who knows, something to consider. But I did want to bring that up. Hex is 30%. Hex on Pulsechain is 30% above 2 cents. Hex on Ethereum is about, what is that? About 12% below a penny. Oh, Jesus. Holy, there is quite the premium on Hex on Pulsechain over Hex on Ethereum, man. That's actually quite significant. So that's 2-3. So for us to match it, we would essentially have to pump, 2-3, about 150, 160% for us to match it. So there's quite the premium on Hex on Pulsechain, which I think kind of makes sense. I do think that Hex on Pulsechain probably, given its superior feature set, has a better chance of outperforming long term. So that is that. Let's take a look at Pulsechain here. Pulsechain seems to continue to be testing resistance. Let's see if we can flip it. If we can, that would be quite good. Now, before I move on, I just want to encourage y'all, please like and subscribe, share the live stream, greatly appreciate it. So, something else I wanted to bring up is I wanted to take a moment to talk about some of the projects launching on Pulsechain that are non-RH projects, and kind of just sharing my thoughts as to how I think about these things, whether I choose to kind of dabble. And the first one I want to bring up is Phiat. And I want to bring up this price structure because you're going to see this price structure a lot in the coming weeks, months, and years as we approach the bull market. And this is a price structure I saw extremely commonly. I remember when I first started, really paying attention back in summer 2020, I would see this pattern everywhere, and it would lead to oftentimes very explosive price action if we see a couple things. And so I kind of want to share my thoughts as to whether or not we might see that here with Phiat. So for those of you uninitiated, Phiat is essentially a fork of Aave launching on Pulsechain. Phiat is part of the Buck Phiat ecosystem of projects. They have Phiat, which is an Aave fork. They have Fame, which is the GMX fork, decentralized perp trading. I believe they're derivatives. It's not spot trading, but you can do leverage trading on chain, which is very cool, and also very profitable on Arbitrum and Avalanche. I believe GMX had like a 3x in the middle of a bear market when it launched. So that's very cool to see. And they also have Fux.io, which is was it a Bancor? No, it wasn't Bancor fork. It was anyways, they have another decentralized exchange that promotes a lot of these non-rich art projects launching. Fux here. So the thing that's kind of cool about Fux, which again is part of the Phiat ecosystem, is the fact that you can have non-RH products be promoted and be on the front page. Like right here, we have the Alex, Icosa, Hadron pools. I believe we have the Maximus Perp pools. Like we have Maxi, Desi, Lucky, Base, Trio here. We have Papa Boner, I think, is launching his own token. Not sure what it does, to be honest, but it's here. Time is another one I like. It also has a decent bit of liquidity here. That's actually pretty cool to see. So, Fux kind of seems to be the place where non-RH projects, can shine. Seemingly, they can be on the front page, kind of easily found. And so I like what they're up to. I like what Buck and their team is up to. I do think it has potential. If you look at Aave performed amazingly. GMX performed amazingly. And something you got to understand, it is my opinion that if Pulsechain is to be successful, Pulsechain, thank you, Calentine is saying Fux is a balancer fork. Thank you for that correction. Guys, if Pulsechain is to succeed, Pulsechain cannot be a ghost chain, all right? I know there's some clips of Richard Hart kind of theoretically pontificating how, Pulsechain could succeed if with just Hex on it, and it's theoretically not impossible. But you want to have products and projects out there that provide services that whales and other ecosystems like use and bring adoption. Aave is a massive, massive value proposition that whales use very actively, has lots of volume, it brings adoption. And so for us to have that feature on Pulsechain invites people who like that feature set somewhere else to come and use Pulsechain. So I think it is a net benefit. And so given how, I think they only raised about $10 million for the sacrifice phase for Phiat, and I think the market cap of Aave, I'm looking this up on my other screen, is about $1 billion. I think, there's 100% tons and tons of upside potential for something like Phiat. Again, potentially speaking, none of the things are guaranteed. Something like Phiat is, higher risk than Pulsechain, but there's a non-zero chance that it might be higher reward than Pulsechain. Now, I grant that maybe that's a low chance, but it's a non-zero chance. And so for me, I have a degen itch. I like diversifying. I like the idea of, I understand that, if Pulsechain's to be successful, there's going to be things on it that are successful as well. Like there's guys on Ethereum, there's Pepe, there's Aave, there's tons of things built on Ethereum that did hundreds of X's. Okay. It's not just Ethereum that can do well. Same thing with Pulsechain. If Pulsechain is going to do well, it's not just going to be RH products that do well. Now, it's an open question whether they'll perform comparably or outperform, and it's perhaps higher risk, but it's also higher reward if you end up getting it right. And so for me personally, I choose to allocate small portions of my portfolio into these diversification plays that I think warrant diversification. And one of those is Phiat. Aave is massively popular, massively utilized. It's a bunch of volume, is massively useful, brings in a bunch of whales on Ethereum. And so I think, that token can or similar use case can probably do better. Yeah, literally. Right now on my other screen, Aave is just under $1 billion market cap. Uh, you know, Fiat is just under a $20 million market cap, so that's a 50x, if my math is correct, just to reach Aave in a bear market. Just to reach Aave in a bear market is a 50x. So again, there's 100% the potential for a lot of upside, but also perhaps higher risk than something like Pulsechain, something like Hex, something like Pulsex. Now, I wanted to bring up something about the price structure, guys. What we're noticing, the price structure is potentially enormously bullish. Where if we know what happened historically, we're getting lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower lows, lower lows. Trend analysis, the number one most important thing when it comes to technical analysis, the number one thing they teach you, or they ought to teach you when doing technical analysis, is trend analysis. The most important thing you can know is being able to identify and understand what the trend is, both on the micro and the macro. Okay. What defines a trend is higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows. And before, we're getting lower highs, lower lows, and then a bunch of sideways moving price action. And then we're noticing a shift in the momentum. Higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher highs, higher highs, higher highs. So what we're forming here, folks, is a rounded bottom, a rounded bottom. And what is a rounded bottom? A rounded bottom is potentially an enormously bullish pattern. So a rounding bottom is a chart pattern used in technical analysis and is identified by a series of price movements that graphically form the shape of a U. Rounding bottoms are found at the end of extended downward trends and signify a reversal in long-term price movements. The pattern's time frame can vary from several weeks to several months and is deemed by many traders as a rare occurrence. Ideally, volume and price will move in tandem, where volume confirms the price action. So what we want to see is confirmation. If you were to believe in whatever trend reversal you're seeing, you want to see confirmation. You want to see flipping of previously established resistance into support, getting higher time frame candles, opening and closing above it. That increases the likelihood of trend continuation. So several key levels you want to be aware of. Essentially, this 45-cent range, I think, is the inflection point for Fiat that essentially marks whether this is truly a rounded bottom or just a fake out. If we do something like this, come back up, test it, fails, or come back up, test and it fails, do something like this. What we could do is, continue the consolidation period, continue the downward pattern, potentially speaking, do something like this. And then maybe the rounded bottom needs, more time before it truly kind of breaks out. If we kind of get rejected off here, something like this can definitely kind of play out, or something like this, whatever. There's a bunch of fucking scenarios, but my point is, rejection off 45 cents seems to be an inflection point. And why 45 cents? Am I pulling that out of my ass? No. The reason why I'm mentioning 45 cents is 45 cents here was clearly massive support during all our pump period, our launch period. 45 cents was the major support level. Once we broke down, 45 cents was the area that we kept getting rejected off of. So support here, resistance here, death. We never maintained above it. And so now we're testing it. And if we can get those higher time frame candles opening and closing above it, then we can see continuation. Now, something to look out for to understand if Fiat is truly ready to explode is Pulsechain. Pulsechain is our leading indicator. If we see Pulsechain do something like this, break above, come back down and retest it, hold the support, higher time frame candles, preferably dailies opening and closing above this level, then we could increase the likelihood of us continuing to go up. And if we see that, I think that's kind of what it takes for Fiat to break above this resistance level and continue pumping. So long term, I think Fiat has product market fit. I think it has good tokenomics, and I think has a non-zero chance of outperforming Pulsechain, Pulsex, and Hex, but has the added risk and added uncertainty of having less of a track record, being kind of a newer thing, which is why I choose to only allocate maybe 2, 3, 5, 10% small proportions of my portfolio, minority-sized portions of my portfolio to these diversification plays. Fiat, I think, raises the bar, or kind of meets the bar for what I consider to be a legitimate diversification play for myself personally. And so, that's why I allocate a couple percentage points. And that's why I want to show to you guys specifically the potential of this sort of price chart. Again, if we can get a bit more confirmation with Pulsechain, this kind of chart looks potentially ready to explode. Again, we need to see a little bit more confirmation. We can get rejected off this level and can continue to consolidate for quite some more time. But I wanted to bring this up because I've seen this pattern dozens of times before. And if we can get that bit more confirmation with Pulsechain, that increases that potential that we could see a bit of a pump here. So that's why I wanted to bring it up. Hope you guys appreciate that. Like and subscribe. I see Tintop saying, we definitely need more volume on Pulsechain, even if it's only hexagon swapping with each other. My DGen bags haven't seen this much movement since before the Pulsechain sacrifice, 100%. And see if we can take a look at the volume we're seeing here on Pulsechain. So we have 408 bridged over tokens. We'll see. Pulsechain total volume locked. Pulsechain TVL. Yeah, I want to see if we can refer to the bridge volume. Interesting to see that stablecoins seem to be the majority of volume on Pulsechain. Let's see if we can see the volume. Okay, so net cumulative flow, deposits, withdrawals. So deposits do seem to be increasing. Cumulative flow, query results, deposit and withdrawals by coins. So it seems like net, we're getting more deposits than withdrawals. Although perhaps I'm misunderstanding this chart. Deposits, withdrawals only, 8 million. Okay, so hold on. So these are deposits on the Pulsechain bridge, and we seem to be here hovering at over 8 million. These are withdrawals on the Pulsechain bridge, and it seems like we're quite below 10. So again, I may be misinterpreting this chart, but perhaps it seems like the outflow is larger than the inflow. If you guys understand these charts better, let me know. But I'm just trying to do this here live with you guys to see if we can get a better understanding of the volume of the inflow and the outflow. Withdrawals, deposits. Yeah, that's just for WE. Interesting. Okay. All right. I won't spend too much time on that because we don't know. But another thing I wanted to touch on is time. I like time quite a bit. So for those of you who don't know, time is the token of the Internet Money wallet. It's a cryptocurrency wallet with native Pulsechain support and cheaper fees than MetaMask. They're still developing this wallet. It's still in beta, but they've been having a bunch of progress, publicly sharing their progress, and I think it's super, super cool to have a wallet that natively supports Pulsechain and again has cheaper fees than MetaMask and also redistributes its fees back to time token holders in the form of Pulsechain. The fact that you can earn a passive source of income in Pulsechain is the thing that kind of pushed me over the edge that led me to sacrifice and accumulate the time token. Because if you hold the time token in the internetmoney.io wallet, you're able to receive a portion of the all the fees in Pulsechain that the wallet earns. I believe there's a max supply of about 2 billion tokens of time. About 10-14% of that is held by the team. And, we're seeing KG, one of the, head members of internetmoney.io and the time token, tweeting out how there's currently 18 million Pulsechain unclaimed, sitting in the smart contract waiting to be claimed. And so something you got to understand, right now, there's very low volume on the wallet. Right now, it is still in beta, so I wouldn't recommend putting your life savings on it. I only use that wallet for kind of short-term swaps, and my long-term holds is on, several different hardware wallets. But, if you're going to use a hot wallet, I think why not use a wallet that natively supports Pulsechain and redistributes Pulsechain back to its holders. I think that's a super, super cool idea. It's not just me who thinks it's a super cool idea. Richard Hart thinks it's a super cool idea because Richard Hart has talked about making his own wallet. But by the time he does a sacrifice phase, by the time he develops it, by the time it comes out, it's going to be the next bull market 2028, 2029 by the time Richard Hart comes out with his own wallet, which is plenty of time for KG and Internet Money being first to market with this idea to get a significant slice of the market share. And something you got to understand, a lot of people in this space seem to think that Richard Hart launching his own wallet is like a detraction to Time, the Internet Money wallet. I don't think it is at all. I think Richard Hart launching his own wallet is a massive marketing campaign, is a massive advertising campaign for this use case in this niche. Because again, like I just mentioned, KG and the Internet Money guys, they're the first to market with this concept. All these other wallets we used, all those fees go back to the team, go back to some VCs that nobody knows about, who doesn't care about us. But the fees come back to a team that's natively trying to support Pulsechain and onboard people in the Pulsechain. I'd much rather fucking support these guys than MetaMask. Now, again, it's still in beta. It's a hot wallet. There is risk, so I don't store anything long-term on this. I only use it for kind of short-term swaps. But again, a massively valuable use case. Richard Hart agrees, and I think Richard Hart launching his own token is a massive advertising campaign for this market. And something you got to consider, guys. Even if the Internet Money wallet ends up being kind of second place in terms of volume or usage to the Richard Hart wallet, that's still massively, massively valuable. Like if you look at the two biggest DeFi protocols on Ethereum, whatever the niche is, they're all massively valuable. The top two DEXs on Ethereum, massively valuable. The top two NFT marketplaces on Ethereum, massively valuable. The top two, decentralized leverage trading platforms. You look at DYDX, GMX, all massively valuable. You look at any two or three of the top niches on Ethereum, they're all insanely valuable. And so I think, number one, if Richard Hart even does his own wallet, it's going to be years. By the time he does a sacrifice phase, puts the time in development to do it, and launches it, it's going to be 2028, 2029. Again, lots of time for these guys to carve out a slice of the market. And even if Richard Hart does do this, I think it's just a massive advertising campaign for this idea. And so because of that, because of some of these reasons, again, I have personally chosen to allocate a minority size of my portfolio into Time, because I think something like Time that pays you in Pulsechain has a non-zero chance of outperforming Pulsechain PulseX Hex. Is that guaranteed? No. Is that high risk? Yes. But it's a non-zero chance. It's a higher risk, high reward play. And the fact that you can earn a passive income in Pulsechain is the thing that kind of tipped me personally over the edge. And again, as I mentioned, it's currently in beta, low volume. So as we get closer and closer to the bull market, volume is going to increase gradually. In fact, I think the volume will increase parabolically. So you might not be earning that much Pulsechain right now, given how early it is. But the more and more, guys, like it's beta. The mainnet version isn't even out. Once mainnet is out and more people feel comfortable using it, once we get the Bitcoin halving, once we get the bull market, more and more people will be using it. And so the fees will be increasing gradually over time, I think somewhat parabolically, because the nature of these markets, both in volume, retail adoption, usage, it's always parabolic. So, guys, historically speaking, you get it paid for being in early. You get paid for identifying something with potential before the majority of other people identify the thing with potential. And again, guys, like Richard Hart agrees. Like the fact that Richard Hart wants to do this use case next should give you guys some idea of the potential value here. Not to mention the fucking market cap, or the valuation rather, is under $2 million. Guys, these guys raised under $2 million during the sacrifice phase. That is fucking nothing. One of the reasons why Hex did so well early on is because so few people knew about it, so few people got into it, and they're under a $2 million valuation. For them to do 100x, they need to get a $200 million market cap. The amount of utter garbage and nonsense that reaches $200 million market cap in a bull market, meme coins, rug pulls, obvious scams, reach $200 million market cap in a bull market. So for this, that's providing massive value, pays an income in Pulsechain, redistributes fees back to the user base, natively supports Pulsechain. Like, guys, nothing's fucking guaranteed. Absolutely nothing. This is high risk, high reward. But I 100% see it as not impossible for this thing to reach a $200 million market cap in a fucking bull market. Utter garbage, utter nonsense reaches a $200 million market cap. That's nothing. For this thing, 100x is fucking nothing. Now, it's not guaranteed. There might be some fucking bug in the wallet that we don't know, and there's some hack 6 months from now. There's always that risk. Okay, guys? Like this is not guaranteed. This is a high risk, higher reward play, which is why, again, I choose to personally only allocate small portions of my portfolio, 2, 3, 5, 10%. The bulk of my portfolio is in the, relatively safer, Pulsechain, PulseX, Hex plays. Those things are more likely, more guaranteed to do well. They're much safer, arguably speaking. I think it's reasonable to say that, Pulsechain, PulseX, Hex is safer. But again, there's a non-zero chance that this outperforms. And not to mention, I think we're forming a very similar pattern to Phiat, which we could be forming a rounded bottom. Now, this rounded bottom, I think, is a bit more messy than something like Phiat. And I think that's partly due to the fact that time is far, far more illiquid than something like a Phiat, which is why I think the chart's a bit more messy and the rounded bottom is a bit less obvious. But again, if from y'all who were around during the Hex days, we all remember that, hey, illiquidity can also be a good thing as well. So the fact that there's, guys, a just under $2 million valuation, $91,000 in liquidity on Pulsechain, and if we go back to Fux, there's just under $19,000 of liquidity of Fux on Pulsechain. So this thing is pretty relatively illiquid, which again is a double-edged sword. It means it's it can crash easier, but it also means it can pump easier, just like Hex. So just like Hex, there's pros and cons to it being illiquid. Same thing with time. There's pros and cons for it being illiquid. And I think we are forming somewhat of a messy rounded bottom, where we're seeing kind of higher lows here in the short term, higher highs here in the short term, which is a 100% a shift in the price structure from our previous kind of lower highs, lower lows, lower lows, lower lows in the price structure. So we got lower highs, lower lows, sideways consolidation, and then kind of higher highs and higher lows. What does that remind us of? A rounded bottom. And if we can get that little bit of confirmation with Pulsechain breaking above resistance, getting higher time frame candles opening, closing above it, and then seeing continuation, then maybe that is the push something like time needs to see continuation of this rounded bottom structure. Again, rounded bottoms are typically quite bullish, but it is not at all guaranteed. Guys, we're still quite a ways away from the Bitcoin halving. We're still quite a ways away from the bull market, so we could see something like this where we pump up a bit, correct more. Maybe we need some more time to consolidate before we pump next. So we don't know for sure, but what we can see is that we're starting to see some good signs. Where before we're seeing lower highs, lower lows, sideways consolidation. Now we're seeing higher highs and higher lows. This is a good sign. And if we see that bit of extra confirmation with Pulsechain, I think that increases the likelihood that this is indeed a rounded bottom and that we could see a pump coming up. But again, we never know for sure. So that's what's going on with time. Let's see what you guys are saying. Stimsy Jones is saying, I sold my Phiat before Pulsechain launch. Will I get another airdrop? So I believe what you might be referring to is Fux. So they're not airdropping Phiat anymore. That was just part of the one-time sacrifice. But the PH team is airdropping Fux. They're waiting on finishing the totals for the Fame sacrifice, and then they'll be doing more airdrops of the Fux token. So if that's what you're referring to, yes, there will be more airdrop Fux. As for Phiat, no, you just got to buy it on the open market if you so choose. I am team needs to get Trezor integration. I don't do crypto without a hardware wallet. Tintop, I believe there is news of that. I think they recently talked about incorporating Trezor integration. And that's another good point I'm glad you brought up. Again, guys, this is a wallet in beta. It's not even mainnet, and it's a hot wallet. There is risk with using this wallet. I only use it for short-term swaps. Anything long-term, any large holdings, again, only use hardware wallets, Ledger or Trezor. I think Trezor may or may not be better. And I'm trying to find this on my other screen here, but I believe they recently had a Twitter space where they mentioned something about Ledger and Trezor integration. Let's see if I can find it exactly. That way we can know exactly if they have it. So, okay. So something else, they also mentioned that on Android and iOS, they pushed an update recently. So for you guys, for those of you using mobile, I would encourage you to go check that out. I don't want to spend too much time looking here. Again, they have pushed updates for the mobile version. Okay, yeah, I don't want to spend too much time. Tin Top, if you go through KG's Twitter, oh no, is it here? Anyways, yeah, I don't want to spend too much more time on this, but if you go through KG's Twitter, he recently, a couple days ago, I think, posted a synopsis where they, Mr. One updates, no worries, right here. Oh, is it here? Yeah, I think it's right here. Hold on. Yeah, okay, here we go. One moment. So part of the recent updates they pushed, so wallet app updates, we will soon be pushing a new update to Android, iOS, and Chrome. They've already done that. So if you're using mobile, go update it. Upgrades for Ledger that support multiple key derivation paths for those that were not seeing their addresses when they were connecting to the Chrome extension with Ledger. Trezor support. You'll be able to connect Trezor to the Chrome extension. So it seems like there is Trezor support on the Chrome extension. Wallet Connect support and integration on Android, iOS, and Chrome. This means you'll be able to connect to all of your favorite dApps in the same way you're used to with MetaMask. So that's another thing. So now moving forward, whatever dApp you connect to, there's almost always Wallet Connect. And with Wallet Connect, it's just kind of a third-party kind of middleman that allows you to connect to the Internet Money wallet. So now it seems like it's pretty much wildly accessible now using Internet Money with any dApp you're interacting with. So yeah, that's some good news to see. What is Education Entertainment TV saying? Bitcoin, MYK, UbiCoin coming to Pulsechain. Only way a lot of people will use it. Cool. Stinzy Jones saying, what if I don't want the wallet? Then you don't have to use the wallet. You do not have to. It's all optional, my friend. Can I still stake and get Pulsechain? So there is a way to hold time not in the Internet Money wallet and still get your Pulsechain. I'm just not sure how. If you join the Telegram group, like guys, go to the Twitter KG, just look up KG on Twitter, join the Telegram, ask them, and I'm sure they'll tell you how to do that practically. These projects are still too difficult to use. Yeah, but it's getting better over time. Jones, it's my understanding that whatever wallet address you hodl the tokens in, you're earning, but you need the Internet Money wallet to claim those earnings. Do your own research, but that's how I understand it. That is my understanding. Again, join the Telegram. I'm sure KG would be more than happy to clarify that. I asked KG about Trezor integration several times in that Twitter space. He said it's in the next update. Okay, that's cool. Well, they made okay. Yeah, there we go. It's either part of this update or just the next update. So, yeah, that's what's going on with Internet Money in time. Folks, like and subscribe. We're getting close to an hour wrap up soon, but before I wrap up, I did want to bring up a couple kind of degen, wild degen opportunities. I did see kind of Somi, your friend Somi, who actually, for those of you guys who don't know, your friend Somi commented on one of my videos confirming friendship. So shout out to Somi, man. I'm glad he got his Twitter back. It's cool to see him kind of showing support. It's kind of cool to see. So shout out to your friend Somi. Recently, he tweeted how he thinks there's, potentially some interesting kind of degenerate, plays on Pulsechain. And I agree. There are some interesting kind of degen plays. One of them kind of being PZen. Now, based off his tweet, we've seen PZen pump significantly here. So I would not buy that pump. But his point is that this shit's fucking fallen. 99. Hold on. Let's move this up a bit more so you guys can see this better. Hold on, log. But his point is that, look, if we measure kind of not even from the wick, but if we measure from the 4-hour candle close, the shit fell 99.53%. I mean, even utter garbage. It's just like not a complete rug can pump after 99.53% correction. And ever since that pump, kind of candle to candle, it's pumped 67%. Wick to wick, this is pumped 125%. So I bring this up because I think there's some kind of funny, kind of degenerate, kind of gambling plays out there that I'll be tracking moving forward, just kind of as a kind of fun thing to do. I wouldn't throw any kind of significant money at these things whatsoever. Like I would, like if you're gonna go gambling in the casino and like put money on the roulette table, instead of that, like that's the money I would put towards something like this, but definitely not now, not in a pump, definitely in a dump or a correction. But I bring this up because I want to track some of these DGen plays moving forward, and I think PZen's an interesting one. I think Pepe on Pulsechain is another interesting one, but I wouldn't buy it here. I would wait for a much more significant correction. Looking at Aave on Pulsechain, this is actually a very, very potentially interesting one. On the daily, this thing's down 82%. If we go to a 4-hour and measure kind of from the 4-hour close to the bottom here, that's like a 90% correction. Again, I think there's a non-zero chance that we might see come next bull market little pumps like this, little pumps and little dumps, where who knows, if you throw like $100 at this thing, it might 3 months from now have a pump, sell it, get out of it, buy Pulsechain, and then it'll dump again. A lot of these DGen plays, a lot of these meme coins, guys, they're just pump and dumps. You do not hold these things long term. You buy when they're crashing and burning and nobody's paying attention, and you sell them on the pump. These are not long-term plays whatsoever, and I wouldn't put any kind of significant money in this whatsoever. I just, again, bring this up and mention this as kind of like, hey, if you're going to go to the casino, if you're going to gamble, if you're going to be a degenerate, these might just be kind of some fun things to track moving forward. Because I think with some of these meme coins and some of these PRC20 copies, what we might see moving forward is a lot of these pump and dumps come, until 2025. And if you can catch a dump and sell a pump, throw $100 or something at it, who knows, you might be able to accumulate quite a bit more Pulsechain. Like, look, guys, if you're accumulating around these levels, I mean, this pumped, Bone, which is a meme coin copy, pumped 340%. That is pretty significant. So, guys, look, I don't take these things seriously. I wouldn't put any kind of serious money in that, but just something kind of fun I want to track moving forward. It'll be interesting to see the nature of these pump and dumps moving forward. So, folks, I want to keep these live streams to about an hour moving forward. We're already at an hour and 11 minutes. If there's anything else you guys want to mention, feel free to do so now. If not, I just want to thank you guys so much for joining the live stream. Guys, like, subscribe, share the stream. I highly appreciate you guys all being here as a new channel. So all your support is greatly appreciated. For those of you who are very well off and want to support me and want access to what I'm doing behind the scenes, want access to my portfolio percentage breakdown, want access to my take profit strategy, I invite you to join my VIP Discord group. As join down in the description below through my Patreon. It is quite expensive. I priced it expensive on purpose so that only people who can very, very easily afford it join. If you only have a couple $100, couple $1,000, couple tens of thousands, put that shit in crypto. Buy a crypto. That shit's only for people who can very, very easily afford it. Again, if you're new, still accumulating, I would much prefer you accumulate. But that option is there. Regardless, folks, it's nice to see a little bit of pumpage. And while we are seeing some pumpage here, and that's kind of nice, it's nice to see our portfolios going up. Just understand that dips are opportunities. Dips are nice. You should frankly get worried about pumps, because whenever there's a pumps are always unsustainable. There's always going to be the inevitable counter move. The pendulum's going to swing. We're going to correct. So you got to think, about buying dips and selling tops moving forward. This top's nice. This pump's nice to see, but we are up against resistance. We'll see if we break out. And yeah, guys, cool live stream. Thank you all so much for being here. Until next time, folks, take care.